Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are cracking open a system that promises, well, not just a modification of how you speak, but a complete overhaul.
A total overhaul of the neurological structures that govern your confidence, your identity, your entire communication style.
Exactly. We're diving into the Pro90D system. It's this really comprehensive approach aimed at transforming disfluent speech, that negative internal dialogue.
And what the source guide calls the stuttering identity.
That's the key phrase.
It is. And we've been immersed in this highly detailed guide from Michael Williams, which meticulously outlines the scientific bedrock of their B.A.S.E. activities.
And what stands out to me is the insistence that every single activity is rooted in applied neuroscience.
Right, specifically the principles of neuroplasticity. It's not just do this because it feels good. It's do this because it physically changes your brain.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to go beyond the exercises themselves and really understand the core science. We want to show you, the listener, how this stuff is designed to literally rewire the brain.
For genuine automatic fluency, it's a massive promise.
A huge promise. So we need to see the science that backs it up.
And the most fascinating part is how it all stacks together. The whole program is structured like a mental workout regimen. And it all has to start with the absolute foundation.
Which is the B.A.S.E, breathing.
Breathing.
Now, breathing seems so foundational, almost deceptively simple. Everyone says, take a deep breath. But what's the specific science here for a speaker?
It's the most powerful, immediate biological lever we have. Deep breathing is the most direct signal you can send to your brain to just hit the reset button.
A reset button.
It immediately activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the body's natural rest and digest mode.
Okay, so most people with speech disfluency, they're stuck in the opposite.
They're often in their sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. Stress, anxiety, that's what's triggering it.
So if I'm facing a tough audience, my sympathetic system is treating them like a saber-toothed tiger.
Pretty much. And deep breathing is the immediate internal intervention. It acts as a physiological countermeasure.
So you slow the breath.
And you reduce the physical signs of stress, which in turn reduces the perceived psychological threat.
And that then helps regulate the prefrontal cortex, the command center.
Exactly, the part responsible for focus and planning. If that's regulated, you can actually think clearly while you speak. Your confidence goes way up.
And the specific technique they mentioned, the $7 times 7 times $7 breathing, that's just to anchor that calm state.
It creates a stable physical foundation. From there, you can reduce the chances of those physical blocks that are really just triggered by panic.
Okay, so once the nervous system is regulated, we can build on it.
Yes, and that leads us right to the next pillars. A and S, affirmations, self-talk, and audio listening.
This is where it gets really interesting. This is where the heavy lifting of identity transformation begins.
Powered by neuroplasticity.
So here's where we go from physiology to psychology. The guide says positive self-talk and affirmations literally promote neuroplasticity. How does just thinking positively become a physical change?
That brings us straight to the driving force of this whole system. Hebb's law.
Classic one.
Neurons that fire together wire together. If you consistently rehearse a positive belief, not just hoping for it, but commanding it.
You're commanding it.
You are forcing the simultaneous firing of neurons for speaking and neurons for excellence or calmness.
So the key takeaway is that positive thinking isn't just wishful thinking, it is physical training for your brain. It's like doing a rep at the gym.
It's neural architecture construction. The more you use that pathway, the faster and thicker the wiring becomes.
Because the system is clever about it. It uses both I versions, like I am a confident speaker, and you versions.
Right, like you are a genius at speaking, which can feel a little less self-conscious, more like you're receiving coaching.
It's all about building a robust, new self-perception, one repetition at a time. But self-talk is messy, isn't it? There's the internal doubt, and then there's the deliberate rehearsal.
Precisely. And we have to differentiate. Internal self-talk is that nagging voice, the one saying, don't mess this up.
That's the saboteur.
That's the one. External self-talk is when you're deliberately vocalizing affirmations or rehearsing a conversation out loud.
I found their 3-step process for managing that internal voice to be the most actionable part. It starts with awareness.
It has to. Step 1 is awareness. You have to recognize the content, the frequency, the emotional intensity of your own thoughts. Most of us just let them run unconsciously.
But how do you actually interrupt a thought pattern that you've had for decades? Is just saying, is stop enough?
It's the consistency of the interrupt and the fact that you have to replace it immediately. Step 2 is interrupting negative thoughts. You use a firm, decisive pattern interrupt.
So when that negative train leaves the station.
You stop it. Stop. This is not helpful. That command creates a critical neurological pause.
And step 3 is the replacement. You can't just leave a vacuum.
No. You have to substitute the unhelpful thought with a constructive one. You model positive speech calmness, clarity, often through visualization. You replace the expectation of failure with success.
And the final piece here is audio listening, just passively absorbing positive speaking styles.
It's constant neural nourishment. You're feeding your brain evidence of successful, confident speaking, even when you're just driving.
Okay, let's shift into the more physical training. Segment 2, the S, F, and M. We're moving from internal belief to the actual mechanics.
Starting with smooth speech practice, the S.
Right. And the scientific payoff here is about efficiency through myelination.
Myelination, exactly. Think of your neural pathways as data cables. When you repeatedly practice a new speech pattern correctly, you're increasing the myelin sheath around those pathways.
So myelination is like the insulation around a wire. If my current speech habit is struggling, is that like having bad Wi-Fi? The signal is there, but it's slow and jittery.
That's an excellent analogy. Myelination is literally boosting the bandwidth. It makes the signal travel faster, more efficiently.
And it makes the new fluent patterns more automatic.
And less prone to interference. It also makes the motor cortex, which controls your tongue, lips, larynx, far more efficient. It takes less effort to speak smoothly.
Okay, so that's efficiency. Then we have free flow speaking practice, the F. This seems to be all about air management.
Yes, the core technique is maintaining constant airflow. The realization is that blocks and stutters happen when the breath and the voice get disconnected.
So the goal is neural synchronization.
Perfect term. You need the circuits for breath, for voicing, for articulation to all fire in perfect coordination. Focusing on constant airflow forces them to sync up.
Which brings us to the really fascinating tool for accelerating all this, modeling practice, the M.
Modeling is rooted in social learning theory, and its power comes from mirror neurons.
Ah, the brain's built-in replication system.
Exactly. They fire both when we do something and when we watch someone else do it. So we can absorb and imitate behavior incredibly quickly.
So by watching and imitating a smooth speaker, you're essentially hitting a fast-forward button on the whole learning process.
You are. But the ultimate goal isn't just mimicry. It's identity transformation.
You're not just adopting a technique, you're cognitively reshaping who you are as a speaker.
Right. There's that great quote in the guide about a client who said he acted as though I was Michael when speaking, and this helped me gain the fluency I needed.
That's so powerful. It's like a cognitive shortcut. You just adopt the mental architecture of a confident speaker and bypass all the doubt.
You bypass the old, limiting identity. That adoption makes the neural transition permanent.
Okay, moving into the advanced tools. This is about integrating everything into the real world. First up is exposure experience, the E.
This is the critical step for making it all last. It's a classic application of behavioral conditioning.
So you gradually expose yourself to speaking situations with increasing pressure.
Right, but not to cause panic. The goal is to safely desensitize the anxiety triggers.
How does that actually change the brain's fear programming? We're talking about rewiring survival instincts.
We're specifically targeting the amygdala and the hippocampus.
The amygdala is the smoke detector.
It's the brain smoke detector, yes.
Yeah.
It triggers that high alert fear response. The hippocampus is the memory librarian. It codes the context of that experience.
So if I have a bad speaking experience, the amygdala screams and the hippocampus archives it as speaking equals danger.
Exactly. But through repeated successful exposure, you introduce new evidence. The amygdala eventually learns the threat is false, and the hippocampus archives new memories. Speaking was a challenge, but I navigated it.
You're literally rewriting your fear response.
And turning those scenarios into opportunities for growth.
Let's talk about the bonus techniques, which are fascinating because they happen entirely in your mind. Visualization and verbalization.
Mental rehearsal, or visualization, is scientifically proven to activate the same neural pathways as physical practice. Hebb's law again.
So when you vividly imagine yourself speaking confidently,
Your brain is firing the neurons associated with that motor skill. It's creating a similar pathway as if you were physically doing it.
I love the comparison to physical training. The study that showed people who mentally practice free throws improved almost as much as those who physically practiced.
It shows how concrete this is for the brain. It absolutely primes the system. And Pro90D integrates this by starting with the 7x7x7x9 breathing.
Why that first?
That breathing helps transition the brain into a more receptive alpha state.
Okay, what is an alpha state in practical terms?
It's a state of focused, relaxed attention, like right before you fall asleep, or deep meditation. In that state, visualization becomes far more potent. The imagined scenario imprints more deeply.
And visualizing yourself as that fluent speaker helps solidify that Michael identity transformation we talked about.
It does. Now, verbalization is the active complement to this. It involves scripting the future event aloud, telling the story of your success before it happens.
Why is that necessary if visualization is already activating the circuits? Isn't that redundant?
No, you're adding layers of conditioning. Verbalization engages more brain regions at once. Language, memory, motor control for your mouth, sensory processing.
So by describing what you'll see, hear, and feel during your success,
You are conditioning the brain to expect that positive outcome. It reinforces the pathways even more than silent visualization alone.
this entire system, from breath to visualization, it all seems to circle back to one non-negotiable principle:
Consistency.
consistency.
You cannot build a new identity or new neural pathways without it. The whole program is built on neuroplasticity. Change only occurs through sustained, focused repetition
Hebb's law again. You have to practice until the new habits are completely automatic.
until they become the path of least resistance for your brain.
So what does this actually look like in daily life? Let's give a clear, actionable blueprint.
The key is the concept of transitional time,
Yeah.
the time that's typically wasted. Driving, walking, waiting in line, the few minutes between meetings.
You use that time so you don't have to find the perfect hour to practice.
Exactly. Anytime you're transitioning from one thing to the next is perfect.
Give us some rapid-fire examples of how you can weaponize that time.
Absolutely. You can do 3 core affirmations, say them for 2 minutes while waiting for your coffee.
Okay.
You can do 3 cycles of the $7 times 7 sevens of breathing that takes just over a minute right before a tense phone call.
And the mental tools can be quick, too. A 30 or 60-second visualization right before you walk into a presentation.
Correct. And maybe most importantly, constant self-talk reminders. Just mentally checking in throughout the day.
Reminding yourself to breathe more, relax my jaw, slow down.
These little mental nudges keep the new pathways active.
And finally, you have to find or create speaking opportunities. Call instead of email. Talk to the cashier.
You have to take the new habits out of the practice room and into the real world. That's the exposure experience component.
It's the full cycle. You breathe to calm the system, you affirm to build the belief, and then you use those small exposures to rewrite the fear memory.
That's the whole engine.
What an incredible journey. We went from the breath, activating the parasympathetic system, all the way to using Hebb's law to forge a new speaking identity. It really shows that fluency isn't just a technical skill.
It's a belief system anchored by physical habits. The true struggle isn't about the mechanics of the tongue. It's about conquering the internal narrative.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Since the very first step of all of this is awareness, just recognizing your constant, unfiltered thoughts, we want to leave you with this. What old limiting beliefs might your subconscious be reinforcing right now just because you haven't taken the time to listen and hit that stop, this is not helpful button?
Find that awareness, and the rewiring process has already begun. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
Until next time.